Yay.
Public display of affection.
Mhm.
Now, that's what I thought you meant when you meant the other PDA you were talking about.
From last episode, yeah.
Exactly, because I hate being touched unless I okay it first. It's just one of
Yes.
those things that's like even in a relationship, like if if I'm not prepared for the touching and I'm like
Hmm.
maybe in my head and someone just like grabs me or something,
Right.
I'm like, what do you want?
Yes. Yes. You almost get like defensive in a way. It's like an attack, it almost feels like. Even though it's not. I know most of the time people have good meaning behind it. But to our nervous system,
Yeah, it's a
it can feel like
sensory
an attack.
overload.
Yes.
Yes, it's like I wasn't prepared for this. My all my attention is somewhere. Yeah, it's almost like a surprise attack. It's like,
Right.
whoa, what was that?
Yeah,
What?
what's going on? What do you want? What do you need?
But on the other way, I will say during an overstimulation moment, I can't take any more touch. Like I'll say in a moment, like you're sick or throwing up, I'll be like, do not touch me while I'm throwing up. Like I know you're trying to comfort me, but
So like that.
this is like now all I can focus on this and I'm throwing up.
Because now I almost feel like I have to like comfort you now, or like I don't like what do you want from me? Why are you touching me?
Yes, it's almost like I have to perform for you
Yes.
because you want.
Just leave me alone. Oh my gosh, ever since I was a kid, that was my parents would always be like, "Why do you never let anyone help you when you're sick?" And I'm like, "Cause why? Like you're just making me feel embarrassed. Go
Yeah,
away."
I will say when I'm sick, I usually like grin and bear it. Like
Yes.
I will be like, oh, I'm not that sick. Oh, I'm not
Mm-hmm.
that sick. I can keep going. I'm not that sick.
Mm-hmm.
It's very rare that I get taken out. But when
Right.
I am taken out, I don't want people to like cater to me necessarily.
No, I just hide out.
Yeah, I hide out. I'm like, it's like an injured dog or an
Uh-huh.
animal. It's like, let me go withdraw and heal myself. Because back to what we said, we don't want to be a burden. I think. Like, I hate to be a burden. Like, the idea of people needing to care for me or needing to look out for me is very jarring to me for some reason.
It is.
I guess, yeah, it's like I want to be seen as self sufficient, I guess,
Mm-hmm.
and independent. Hey, and that leads into a lot of that thing where it's, well, we're getting sidetracked again. Back to the PDA and touching.
Well, you know what's weird? I love one of my like kinks is PDA when I'm in a relationship.
Hmm.
If I am expecting it, I like the person, I trust the person, I am in the mood like already, I love PDA. I love that. But I do have a flip side because if I do not have that type of relationship with you, or like I just don't know like what you want from me, what you like why you're doing it. It almost spirals me into like a panic attack. And I do have a story about this that I kind of told you about over the phone the other day, where, and I won't go too in detail because it does involve family, but I will say I'm not mad at the family members. This had nothing to do with like they didn't do anything wrong. This was like a me thing, and I will explain because it sounds so silly to everyone else. But to me, it spiraled me. So I was in Minnesota on a vacation. And so my grandmother passed, and we had like a celebration lunch for her.
I'm
And
sorry to hear.
oh, thank you. And when I was there, we were all sitting down eating, and someone had come up from behind me, and they like just grabbed my arm. I was in mid conversation with I think my dad or
Mm.
something, and they grabbed my arm and they just started looking at my tattoos. And I like glanced over. I knew they were looking at my tattoos, so I was like, whatever. But they're like reading them out loud, and they kept asking, "What does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean?" And most of my tattoos are either A, ones that I've gotten when I was intoxicated. So they really don't have much of a meaning. Or B, they have like a very deep meaning. And I just do not feel like going into it in public, like, especially when you want me to do every single one.
Mhm.
So I'm already getting overwhelmed. I'm getting overstimulated because I have someone talking to me. She's in my ear. Next, she's pulling my ear, trying to look at my tattoos in my ear. And I'm just getting like drug all over the place. Then she comes on this side, rips my shirt down, and is looking at my shoulder tattoo. Now my clothes are coming off. I start sweating because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. She's asking so many questions. So many people are just staring at me now. I have like the full spotlight. Then I have a penis behind my ear tattooed. She asks me, "So what is that?" It's clearly a penis. It's clearly a penis. And so I had like snapped and I literally said that. I said, "Well, it's obviously a penis." And then like the room got quiet and then I felt embarrassed. I felt so much shame. So I literally just left and went for a walk. But I was so embarrassed because I was like, that is such a silly thing to like get razzled up about. But in the moment, I quite literally like could not think. I was sweating. I couldn't breathe. And like and I was giving all these signs that I was uncomfortable, but nobody was taking the signs. No one was listening. And it was just getting worse and worse. And so that is a perfect example of when touch becomes overstimulating for
Definitely.
us.
I agree with that there. The fact
Sorry,
that
long story.
no, it was really I agree with everything because you what it was is you had a lot of these silent cues
Yes.
that were adding up. You know, it's
Mhm.
like you were touching me here, you're touching me there, you're pulling this here, you're pulling that
Mhm.
down there. And
Mhm.
it's like now I'm being asked all these questions and drilled, and it's like you're invading
Mhm.
my personal space, and I
Mhm.
had never asked you or like gave you permission to do so,
Mhm.
especially to someone maybe you haven't seen in forever.
Right.
You're like, I that's when I was young with family members, I always had a problem with that. It's like, why are you touching my arm? Even though it's like in a loving
Well,
way.
'cause it's like I don't really know you.
Exactly. But it's like also like, why are you touching my arm? I didn't know. And
Mhm.
it's like an act of love or showing love. I thought, like,
Mhm.
what do you want from me?
Right.
And it's like in that case, she did want from you. She wanted your attention. She wanted your
Mhm.
attention and she was
Mhm.
gonna bug you until you gave it to her. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, you were saying, hey, 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 and then all of a sudden you're getting like, hey,
Right.
and it sucks because that creates shame at the well. But
Right.
at the same time, I am guilty of doing that all the time, especially even with my mother and
Mhm.
family. You know what I mean? And it's like, no, I have these boundaries, and you don't take them seriously. So now
You
here
don't
we are.
care.
Now I'm
Yeah.
getting loud, and I don't like myself now, and I'm ashamed that I can't got to this level. But it's because I allowed you to get me to this level. You know, I
Mhm.
didn't say anything loud enough, and I kept going on with it. And it's
Right.
like if I it's one thing to have the boundaries, and it's another to keep standing firm to them
Mhm.
and knowing
Yep.
when to say something and how to say it so they're not disrespected. Because
Mhm.
I have come across people that are like, you say that, I say, hey, no, no. And they're like, what did I do wrong?
Right.
And it's like, you have to include, hey, I am overstimulated right now. I can't
Mhm.
take any more stimuli.
Yes.
It's almost like you have to play it
Yes.
out that way.
And it's really that simple because if they still don't get it, well, then you're just dealing with someone that quite literally doesn't care about your boundaries.
Exactly. And that's how it
But any
feels.
normal person, that's a very just straight to the point. This is a me thing. I'm stepping out. Like, it's not a you thing. We're good.
See, I
It's as
always
simple
felt
as
like,
that.
and I always see like I would for PDA in like with a loved one, it's almost
Mhm.
like I'd see people touch and kiss and stuff like that. And I felt like it was almost a performance for me because I wasn't necessarily comfortable with it.
Okay.
And, maybe also because being gay, I didn't want to put
Yes.
that on people's radar or put that out there. So I'm always against PDA even more so in a sense that like,
Makes
hey, do we
sense.
have to do this right now?
Mhm.
Like I get it. And some people are the opposite. It's like, no, I want to show off and blah blah blah. And
Mhm.
like, I don't care. But I was like, yeah, but these people might care. And it sucks. It's like hard to live your life in a sense that should I care, do things that people, you mask, you know what I mean? Nowadays, I don't care, but it's still something that I'll probably
It's
I'll
still
hesitate.
something.
I'll
Mhm.
hesitate and then I'll be like, I don't care,
Right.
but I'll still catch myself because my nervous system is like, whoa, you gotta protect yourself, you
Which
know?
is crazy. It's so crazy the difference of experiences because I didn't even think that for some reason. I mean, our experiences would be so different when it comes to PDA, even though we're both neurodivergent, but being a gay man, I mean, your entire life, the way society views it, it's just all so there's automatically shame
Hmm.
attached to it. Even if you don't feel shame, there's automatically shame from society attached to it. And so yeah, I can't imagine.
And see, I will say though, my touch sensitivity overstimulation is not that. chain of thoughts though.
Okay.
In that situation, yes, I'm like, okay, now I'm way overthinking this, and I
Mhm.
think everyone's watching me, but in reality, most people aren't even looking at you.
Mhm.
And I've learned that lesson, and that's why I don't care anymore.
Mhm.
And but it's like that first, a lot of it was like, I feel like people are trying to take from me my attention, my energy when people touch me unasked,
Mhm.
and I wish people sometimes just be like, talk to you first, and then I'm just like, why are you touching
Right.
me? What's the point of you touching me?
Mhm.
What about strangers touching you, like when they meet you? Like, okay, like a hug is one thing, but
Okay.
say like
Mhm.
someone like, I have a problem when someone like shakes my hand and then they're like touching your shoulder too. And I'm like,
Like
is
this
this a
very grabby
well, I'm like,
and
is this a manipulation thing? This is where my mind goes.
yes.
And like, I never take touch as just like a simple, hey, they like you. They want to show that they like you. I say, why are you touching me? Why is this? I get shameful on that because I'm like, why do I feel this way when
Well,
I
you know what
know
it
it's
probably
not an
stems
evil
from
intention?
is the fact that so in the neurotypical world, there are so many little gestures and things to show dominance and that mean this and that mean that. And so we've spent our whole lives trying to decipher that.
Hmm.
And so I think it just naturally we always are kind of assuming that something is being done to manipulate us or it has a different meaning associated to it. And so that does make sense.
Yeah, because you were talking about what if we were to have a neurotypical ask us about us, and then I feel
Yes.
like that's the main thing is we overthink, analyze everything.
Hmm.
Like everything is thought way too deeply,
Hmm.
and they're like, no, it's just surface level, bro.
Hmm.
And it's like, why can't it ever just be surface level?
Hmm.
That's the hard thing to,
I think because real life is not surface
and
level.
that's what I agree. I
Everyone
feel like
pretends
there's
that it is, but
intention,
it's not.
and people are manipulating, and people are intending. It's like you say one thing, but your body language says a different thing.
Yes. And we see
And
that. We
when the
see through
connections
it.
don't connect, and it's like a miscompute, it's like something's wrong here.
Yes.
Like I don't understand it, but I don't trust it. Like
Right.
automatically, I don't trust you because I don't understand you.
Hmm.
It's interesting about that too. It's creating those
Case
boundaries.
solved.
I mean, yeah, but it's back to like the relationship. I think like if it's not expected, I will
Right.
say that it may take me out of my train of thought, and then I may react to be like, "What's going on?" And
Hmm.
then I'll be like, "Oh, it's a loving touch," and then I'll be like, "Okay, no way, it's fine."
Because I will say, when you asked me if, when it comes to PDA with someone that you aren't like in love with or something, so if a man were to just come up to me and be grabbing on me or something, that would be very alarming to me. Whereas if it was like a boyfriend, I would love that because I'm like, oh, he's showing me love. Like he wants to
Mhm.
be around me. But yes, if it was a stranger, absolutely that would make my skin crawl.
Yeah, I mean, it's like exactly
Absolutely.
that. It's like um the idea that are they manipulating me? Are they trying to like some sort of like and then you go along with it and it's like, oh, this is supposed to be socially accepted, but
Right.
I don't feel okay with this.
Mhm. Mhm.
So like another thing is like if you go along with it because you don't want to be rude to them, and it's like, is this a form of masking where we like, are we supposed to just go along with it and accept it because it's their way of going, or do we say, hey, I don't appreciate this, how about we just do a handshake or something like that?
The amount of times in life where I have just gone with it because I felt like, okay, well, this has to be like the socially acceptable thing to do. And I
Mhm.
don't want to like ruffle any feathers because then I'm the weirdo. And I mean, and I'm talking about like it goes so far as like quite literal, like intercourse too. Like even like as far as that. And I feel like that's not just a neurodivergent thing. I feel like unfortunately that's just across the board, men, women,
What
gay,
exactly?
straight, bi, where it's like you kind of like someone starts PDA and you almost take like the fawn response, kind of what we were talking about earlier, where not the fight or flight response, but you kind of just go with it and think, okay, well, I guess this is what I'm supposed to do. Like, I don't want to make anyone uncomfortable, so I'll just
Hmm.
go with it. And then it goes too far, and then you're in too deep. And I think that's a very common thing.
So I found that with friendships and stuff that I've done that too, and it's like I go too far down the rabbit hole, and then I have to explode and end the friendship. And
Yes. You
I've
too?
I've done that so many times. Like even
You
recently,
too?
like it's like I went down this ignoring the flag, saying more. I put my potential on this person.
Hmm.
And then I'm like, okay, this is fine. I can go along with this. You know, they're holding me hostage with their words, but you know, by keeping me here and just talk, talk, talk. But you know, it's gonna be okay. I don't know. And then I feel bad for people, and then I'm trying to like do something to help them see something, but they didn't necessarily ask for it. And then all of a sudden, it's like not reciprocated, and I don't know. I have to explode the friendship and just be like, I'm sorry, I have to leave. Like, and it's like
I
I've gone along with it too
feel
much.
this.
I've gone along with it too much, not trying to be nice to this person because I feel like people aren't nice to them. And so now I've over indebted myself and I'm so far into it. And it's like I've gone to multiple lunches with this person. And then it's like, you know, every interaction is a take from me. It's just they take from me. They drain me. They
Draining,
drain,
draining.
drain. And then I reach a breaking point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm sorry. It's not you, it's me. But I'm like, sometimes I do blow up and I read them and everything that I've been holding in. A lot of times I do that. Let's be real. I read people when I reach that point. I try to say it respectfully, but I'm like, this is all the problems I'm having with you. This is how I see it. I think this is what you need to fix if we're going to ever have a future here. Goodbye. And I block them. I have to. It's like, and then I feel bad, but at the same time, my life is more peaceful. I have
Right, right.
thoughts to
I don't
myself.
regret it.
I don't regret it. I do a little bit. I do regret how I acted,
Right, the reaction.
the
You
reaction,
regret the reaction a
but
little
I had
bit.
to shut it down right then and there. And so I've learned that, like, if I didn't see the red flags, and now I've learned to see red flags now, and I look back and I'm like, oh, I should have seen this person exactly how they presented themselves, not how I thought they were going to be. I thought that because it's when you presume it's going to be better, it's going to get better. And it's like, okay, I'm not going to stand my boundaries because I don't think I'm going to need to. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And you're like, it's that fun response. You just go
Mhm.
along with it. Yeah. And it's really comes down to you need to set and stand your boundaries in order to be heard and to be respected.
That is so true. Oh my gosh. That entire experience. Ooh. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you said you've experienced this.
Oh yeah.
How's a relationship you've gone where you've gone too far and then you've exploded it?
Few. Unfortunately, a
I do have a few
few.
too. They're usually more
Where
acquaintances though. Are you saying that they've gotten
mine are
closer?
actually usually more super, super. I'll have like my favorite person. And I also have something called BPD, borderline personality disorder. So, and that's like a common theme with that is having like a favorite person. And whether that's like your partner or whether it's just like a best friend, but almost tinkers the line of like romantic partner almost
So
because you're
not a
like so
romantic partner,
close.
but just a platonic person.
Right, that you're just like, that's your, you'll die for them, you'll kill for them, that's your favorite person. And usually I have definitely cut myself off from those types of friendships now just because I know that the end never ends well. It always ends in an explosion.
What do you think initiates it?
The explosion
No.
or the friendship?
Yes.
Well, it usually would
Like
just
what's the setup
happen.
that this even happens?
So I was in almost like a throuple type situation years ago, but it was almost like an like we didn't necessarily call, we would joke and call it a throuple, but it
Mhm.
wasn't like an official throuple. But it was a boy and his girlfriend, and then I was kind of like dating both of them. I also had like my own people, but it was we were like a unit together. And this happened for like years and years. And I I was such a people pleaser during this time of my life that I would just go with anything, everything's good, and they could do no wrong even when they did do wrong, lots of wrong. But I would just always be there for them. And then one day I just snapped. I just snapped, read them to filth, things got physical, and haven't talked to them since, but it was just so much built up resentment and
Just
all
things
this
left going
stuff.
unsaid.
Yes, because it was almost like it's a relationship, but without having those really healthy, deep talks where you're actually growing and learning and fixing. So there was just so much resentment being held between everyone. And
And that's
just,
what
yeah,
it is. It's a resentment. It's like, and it's
it's
from you
dangerous.
not
Yeah,
stating your boundaries. It's closed mouths
exactly.
don't get fed. You know, how are they going to read your mind? How are they going to understand? You need to be
Mhm.
like, hey, this is, and I've learned that when people start texting me or coming at me looking for validation, I give them
Mhm.
coaching. I'll be like, this is, well, you have these options. You should do this, this, or this. You
There
know,
you
I
go.
mean, what looks good for you? Like, these are your options. What are you going to do? You know, and then they don't like it that much because they just want to be heard or they just want to cry.
Yeah,
A
they
lot of
just want to
people just
vent.
want to be a victim. They
Mhm.
just want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to be addressed. And I get it. But at the same time, I am not, I don't hold myself to that same standard of am I a victim or a hero in this world? Like I'm the hero of my story. I am not a victim of this world. And I think that's a very clear distinction between a lot of people is like, are you a victim or are you a hero in your story? You
Mhm.
know, and I feel like when I come across victims, those are the people that I feel bad for and those are the ones I let in and get encroach, and I always get burned by.
It's really hard to flip that victim mentality once you, and I'm not just talking about, because obviously horrible things happen for no reason. And like,
But it's
I
your
have so much
perspective.
empathy and sympathy and whatnot. And I understand sometimes you just need to vent and say, yes, life is shitty. But when you slip into a permanent mindset of where everything is negative, you are a victim of everything, that can be really
See, and I
dangerous.
feel like it comes from people not wanting to have accountability. They
Mhm.
don't want to they don't want to see
Because you have to look
themselves.
inward. That's hard. That's
It's
scary.
hard, but it's so worth it.
It is
It is so
so
worth it.
worth it.
Like people that don't want to do the work, it's they struggle constantly day in, day out. They're like, this happened to me, this happened to me, this person did this to me, this did this to me. Oh, I can't catch a break, like blah blah blah. And it's like that is, I will say on a spiritual note, like a mindset note, like what you think is what becomes in your reality. You tune yourself, your
Yes.
thoughts to positivity. Positivity will start beginning in your life. I'm not saying negative things do not happen in my life,
Mhm.
but I will say a lot of it comes with more lessons. I see the lessons in things. I see the silver linings in things. I try to see the hard lessons in things, you know, losing people even. It's like it sucks. It's not necessarily all compute. It doesn't all make sense.
Right.
But you know, you take what you learned from those people and you move on with strength and positivity and you grow. You don't try to destroy. And I
Right.
think that's a big thing in people is a lot of people speak you need to speak life into things in order to create life. If you speak negativity into things, you're just going to shit on everything and just it's going to return to you. And that's why you only focus on the negatives. I feel like these people forget their own negative problems. I'm like, how is your life so dramatically negative? I've never experienced half of these things. And it's because I choose to think positive. I've experienced those situations, or a lot of those situations are with people that I'm not even allowed to get to that deep. They're like toxic people, or you know what I mean? It's very interesting to me. It's like they want to constantly be pitied, even by themselves.
And the only way to change that is them. Like
You
honestly,
can't inspire it. And that's my
it's the
problem with these
only
people
way.
is like that I try to help them or try to inspire them and
Mhm.
but they didn't ask for it. So that's why I'm like, well, I thought if I could show them how to do things, like maybe they could start shifting their mindset and be more positive and think happier for themselves. You know, not say you have to do it my way, but this is happening in your life. You can look at it this way. You know, and they don't they choose not to. They want to sit in their rut and stuff.
Well, you know what I think? So I used to have more of that victim mentality years ago for like a period of time when I was first like truly learning about, and this was probably like 7, 8 years ago when I was first learning about certain diagnoses and or trying to figure out them. I hadn't been diagnosed yet, but I just knew something was wrong. And I was going to all these different doctors, trying all these different medications. And I definitely fell into that victim type mindset. And like I would say yes, for good reason, because I was a victim of many things. But as soon as I flipped the script and said, yes, I was a victim of these people, but no more, honey. I'm going to live in spite of this. I'm going to live in spite of all this bull crap. Once I truly hit rock bottom, there was nothing left except to start over and to start climbing. That it was the only thing
Yeah, because you
that
only have
changed my
yourself,
mentality.
right? You only have yourself.
Nobody else could have done it for me. So yeah. So I totally understand what you're talking about. It's very hard, but it can be done. It can, but unfortunately, you have to be the one that does it.
I know. It sucks that we all have to hit these hard lessons,
Mm-hmm.
but you know they're worth it.
They are. Yeah,
It's a struggle at
it sucks
first.
in the moment. Woo! But
It's something
it's only a
new and
moment.
different.
It's
Exactly.
only a moment. If you start the climb, that rock bottom is only a moment.
That's a great way to put it.
I know that was kind of off topic, but
No, I love it.
PDA.
Back to PDA. So some ways to like help with it. You know, you're in a relationship, maybe you're not great at, you have a person that their love language is touch.
Yes.
And so you want to perform for them in a sense because you don't like the touch, but you don't want them to feel that you don't want what they have to give.
Right, you don't want them to feel turned off and like, oh, does she not like me?
Exactly. So a lot of them is back to setting boundaries, you know.
Yes, communication, boundaries.
Setting those check-ins. Be like, hey, how are you doing right now? Is it okay if we like hold hands? I really like to hold your hand or something like that. Instead of like just taking it upon yourself, asking that permission is always like a great way to do it. Like, I know it sounds old-fashioned, ask permission, but it's like asking permission is that check-in, say, okay, I can handle this right now, or you know what, now's not a good time. I cannot take any more stimulation, you know, because you don't know what you'll be in that moment. And or you'll say, okay, you know, I do want to hold your hand. I want to take myself out of this mood. And sometimes that's what you needed to take you out of that mood. And that's what I say, like, don't turn away external stimuli. Look at it, address it, say, what is it? Why is this coming into my life? Like from a spiritual aspect, say, why is this being brought to me? It's probably something I need to pay attention to that I haven't been. Oh, holding hands. Oh, I do like this. Like, okay, I can breathe. I don't need to be so tense about things. Obviously, they saw something tense in me, and you know, they wanted to like say life's not so serious. You know, a lot of those things. I feel like that's a helpful self-regulation, and especially in relationships. This is my experience that I've been with touchy people, and I've been not a touchy person. It's like, but I want them to feel loved by accepting their gift that they have to give. Right. And in turn, I teach myself to enjoy it more.
And you know what also is important is the type of touch. I think when we think of like PDA, we think of like making out and groping and grabbing, and we think of all like the extreme stuff. Yes. But it could also be things like tickling your back or like gentle touches. Like if you don't want that like intense, like
intimate part almost.
Intimateness,
like,
but you still do crave like some stimulation, like have them tickle your arm. Like there's other forms of touch besides the few that may come to your head right off the bat. And I think that's important to have that conversation with your partner.
Exactly.
What types of touch you like, what types of touch you maybe don't like.
Yeah, and if you react to the moment, tell them, say, hey, I'm not rejecting you. Yes. I can't take any more stimulation. Like, be just matter of fact about it. And they'll get it. They'll be like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then later, when you're ready, go grab them, you know, and reciprocate. You know what I mean? Say, hey, now I'm okay. You know, thank you for being patient with me. Yeah. You know, but in the moment, you can do like just the eye contact or like just like squeezes, be like, oh, how are you doing? Yeah. Just something on the shoulder that's non-invasive, but it's like, hello, like, and it's like a little notification. Yeah. You know, to check in.
A little notification. I like that.
But let it be playful, not performative, you know.
Yes.
If something's too much for you, say, hey, can we do this instead? That's more comfortable. You know, and that's the reciprocation that you come to in a relationship. It's like, all right, I want to show my love, but they want it to be shown by holding pinkies. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or that like shoulder touch, like just hand on the shoulder, and that's all you want, you know, and that's okay. And then you can build up to more if you feel comfortable. You know, it's always good to help push yourself to grow. And, you know, in relationships, it's all about meeting each other's needs as well as your own, you know, and not putting yours aside for the other person's, because that just leads to resentment. and just
Mm,
setting those boundaries right in the get go, or when they do become a parent to you, like say, hey, I don't like this, but it's not because of you, it's because of this. And now hopefully you have a name behind it, and you can tell your loved one and say, hey, it's not you. I just need this space right now so I can finish processing.
yes.
You know, and honestly,
Hmm.
sometimes when I do get grabbed like that, it only takes me a moment after that. They're like, wait, I do want that. And it's like,
Right.
it took me out of where I
Right.
needed.
It's just because it catches you off guard and you're like, whoa, 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 because we're so like hyper vigilant.
Yes. And then
So
it's like
we
you
almost
focus
we're like
on
a
it.
wild animal, you need to come at us
Yes.
gently.
Yes. Don't sneak up on us. We're ready to attack. And if you know kung fu or something, like watch out. Because I am definitely like, I used to be like a freezer, but I'm like ready to fight if I have to. It's like I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, please give us a warning. Do a little do something.
And being neurodivergent, it is very easy to feel like a robot sometimes. You
Oh
know,
my gosh.
especially if you're on medication. I know, like on the autism spectrum, but also like on Vyvanse and stuff. Like, I love it. It helps me stay motivated and complete tasks till they're finished. And it's like night and day difference. I struggle all my life to come off of it, but I need it. I understand I have a chemical imbalance, and this helps me
Yeah.
be a better person.
Yeah.
Like, I hate to admit it sometimes, but honestly, I'm learning that it's not. There's nothing wrong in needing help. And that's what we're trying to say, even on the chemical pill level. Like, if you need it to be successful, what's the bad
If you
part?
need a blood pressure medication, you're gonna take a blood pressure. Like it is what it is.
It is. And, we try these more natural approaches,
Mhm.
but sometimes, we just need a little extra help. And that's okay. It's all about taking the shame out of needing help.
Yes.
But, if you've ever felt like a robot, and you're not alone. Like, I felt like a robot growing up my whole life, and I didn't know how to compute and understand touch. And I always felt like I would be overexerting myself if I was to initiate touch. So I had
Hmm.
to wait for somebody else to initiate. No one ever initiated. So
Yes.
though no one touches, because I'm the big man. So people are like, you're supposed to initiate. And I'm like,
So true.
I
Because like for me, I would have been waiting for you to initiate it.
And then
Hmm.
I'm thinking here, I'm too nervous to do this. What if they shouldn't want me to touch her? Like, or like, and it's like that goes through my head. I'm just overthinking. It's like you have to say, now I'm good at reading body language enough
Hmm.
that I don't need those cues. I can read the cues and be like, oh, well, we're here. We're doing this.
This
We're
is so
talking
funny
about
that you
this.
bring it up.
So now I know that we've gone this far that I can touch them in this way, but
Hmm.
that's only through experience. At
Yeah.
the get go, like in high school, I was so nervous to go like on a date with a girl or something. Like, I'd be like, I don't know, I can't touch her. Like, what if that's inappropriate? What if she gets
Oh
really
my
offended?
God. That is so funny because that I
Yeah, from
like
a
I've
girl to
had
a guy,
yes,
do you feel like you can offend a guy by touching them?
I never so it takes me a while. Like I basically need a man, and I've realized this the older I've gotten, to like physically tell me he likes me and is attracted to me before I it like registers that he likes me. Cause otherwise I'm like, oh, you just be nice to me because like, oh, I'm like this conventional pretty girl, whatever. And so guys will give me all these signs and I'm just ignoring it, thinking, oh, there's nice, there's nice. And it will take me like months of someone trying to like talk to me. And then like saying like, can we go on a date? I like you. And I'm like, you do? They're like, yes. So that is so funny because I always like am too nervous and shy. I always wait for them because I think maybe fear of rejection. I don't know.
Yeah, fear of rejection. That's
Yeah.
where it stems a lot from, I'm sure, for most of us.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
so
what
I would always be waiting.
it's
And if
just like the
nothing
fear of like
happened,
doing something being turned down is mortifying. It's like, oh god, I
oh, I'd
just
run
imploded
away.
myself.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I think that's what it is. So that's so funny that you have the same thought being the guy. So if we went on a date together, we would still be celibate.
I know, that's so funny. But like you said, like I said, like you grow up and you learn to read body language, because we notice we hyperfixate on that. And it's like, well, I don't want to ask and embarrass myself, so I
Right.
might as well just. You learn to read the body language, like, oh, now I know it's
Hmm.
acceptable.
Yeah, that's why we become so good at masking and being able to be like a chameleon in any setting because we can see everything and we know it.
I know that's its own downfall. We're expert maskers. That a lot of us, I'm sure, that I've even talked to and coached, it's like they can't even tell you who their true self is. They're like, well, I go to the gym, I go to work, and I watch TV. It's like, well, what do you do
Like,
for
who are
creativity?
you?
Like, what are you passionate about? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, wow, it's very interesting. But I was that person too before I started saying, I want more than this.
Right.
And then you
Mhm.
start digging deep, and then like, what did you like to do as a child? What were you creative as a child in? Like, what were
What
you
were your
naturally
interests?
skilled at? Like, what are
Yeah.
you naturally skilled at? And what are your interests? Where that intersects is where you belong.
Mhm.
But I think that's all we have on the PDA.
Yeah, I think we got it. We
If this
covered both the
resonates with
PDAs.
you, like definitely send, share it to all your friends. If you always got icked from being touched and you didn't know why, well, here's why. And if you're struggling with your own PDA shutdowns, like reach out to us. We'd love to discuss it on the air, do a coaching topic. Yeah, I do live
Yes.
coaching. You guys tell us what you'd like us to talk about. We don't have to say your names, or we can address it and go from there. Kind of have like an open coaching seating.
I want to do that so bad. I want more people to comment and message us. If you're like too scared to comment publicly, just message us privately.
And now we have 25 subscribers, so we're starting to get more comments.
Okay, 25, 26, here we come.
Yes, but like, subscribe, share with all your friends. We're growing slowly but surely, and I really love what we're becoming.
I do too. And do you see the new mic set? I mean, we're only
Yes, we
getting
just
better,
upgrade,
honey.
upgrade.
Yes. We're only getting better. And tell us what we should talk about next time.
Or else you're gonna just hear what we decide you want to hear, what we think you should hear.
Yeah, follow us on social media.
Yes, Unmasked and Unchained, Unmasked podcast on YouTube. I'm Chris.
I'm Kaylee.
Until next time. Cute. Love it.
I feel like they were very natural today. I don't know what my issue was last time. I feel like I was like tweaked out for some reason.
So that's what I felt like last time too.